まもなく式典が始まります。式典の順序について皆様にお知らせいたします。式典は原爆死没者名簿奉納、式辞、献花、黙祷、平和宣言、報給、平和への誓い、来賓挨拶、広島平和の歌合唱、以上の順に行います。なお、式典の開始前に原爆犠牲者の方々に対します献水を行います。
The ceremony will begin shortly and will proceed as follows. Dedication of the Register of the Atomic Bomb Victims. Address. Dedication of wreath. Silent prayer. Peace declaration. Release of doves. Commitment to peace. Messages from distinguished guests. Hiroshima Peace Song. Before the ceremony starts, a ritual offering of water will be held at the cenotaph to comfort the souls of the atomic bomb victims.
ただいま行っておりますのは、原爆犠牲者の方々に対します献水でございます。
The ritual offering of water is now being performed at the cenotaph to comfort the souls of the atomic bomb victims.
80年前のこの日、炎の中で水を求めながら亡くなられた方々のために、市内17カ所から集めた聖水を捧げております。
In this ritual, pure water collected from 17 locations in the city is solemnly offered to the victims who died in the flames while seeking water on this day 80 years ago.
We have come to the scheduled time. We'd like to commence the Peace Memorial Ceremony. Dedication of the Register of the Names of Fallen Atomic Bomb Victims. Mayor of Hiroshima City, representative of the bereaved families. In the register that has been now dedicated, the names of 4,940 atomic bomb victims are entered. The total number of the names in the register, including the names that have been entered until last year, is 349,246. Address. Chairperson of the Hiroshima City Council. Address. Today, we're joined by Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, distinguished guests, Hibakusha, and beloved family, as well as citizens from Japan and around the world, at the Peace Memorial Ceremony to pay our deepest respect to the many souls of the victims of the atomic bombing. Eighty years ago, on August 6, a single atomic bomb annihilated the city of Hiroshima in an instant, claiming the countless lives. Those who managed to survive have lived a life full of suffering, too great to put into words. It is based on this horrific experience that Hibakusha and all citizens of Hiroshima have continued to convey the reality of the atomic bombing and appeal for the preciousness of peace. Despite this, however, there's no end in sight to wars and conflict across the globe today. From the threat of nuclear weapon use to countries bolstering their nuclear arsenal, the state of affairs regarding nuclear weapons is rapidly taking a turn for the world. It is in this troubling time that Nihon Hidankyo was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in December 2024 for their work for nuclear weapons abolition. Facing the harrowing memories of the atomic bombing, the Hidankyo continues to convey the experience to the world, appeal for the inhumanity of nuclear weapons. With the deep recognition of historic value of this award, international society must take the will of the Hibakusha that no one else should ever suffer as they have to heart. We must make this milestone 80 years since the atomic bombing, the year in which we strongly resolved to work toward a world free from war, where everyone can live safely in peace and demonstrate this resolve through action. We hereby reaffirm a pledge to continue to do in our power for the realization of the abolition of nuclear weapons and a lasting world peace by joining hands with those who desire peace. In closing, we offer our prayers for the peaceful repose of the souls lost in the atomic bombing. We sincerely hope that the Hibakusha who still suffer from after effects and the bereaved families will receive strengthened comprehensive care and support from the national government. August 6, 2025, Norihiko Hachijo, chairperson of the Hiroshima City Council.
Offering of flowers. Mayor of Hiroshima and the Speaker of the Hiroshima City Council, representatives of the bereaved families, children's representatives, representatives of the Hibakusha. Prime Minister of Japan, Speaker of the House of Representatives, President of the House of Councilors, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare, Governor of Hiroshima Prefecture and the Speaker of the Hiroshima Prefectural Assembly, representatives of the citizens of Nagasaki, Secretary General of the United Nations, Executive Secretary of the Preparatory Commission for the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. Representatives of the sister and friendship cities. Representatives of Mayors for Peace. Next, I ask the representatives of the citizens of Hiroshima to lay flowers. It will soon be 8:15. At the sound of the bell, we'll observe a minute of silence to console the souls of those who fell victim to the atomic bombing and to pray for a lasting world peace. Everyone, please rise if you are able to. Silent prayer. Thank you. Please be seated.
Peace Declaration, Mayor of Hiroshima City. Peace Declaration. 80 years ago, Hiroshima was strewn with bodies too damaged to identify, even their sex. One Hibakusha ignored the many glass shards piercing her body to cremate her father with her own hands. Elsewhere, a young woman begged, "I don't care if I die, please give me water." And decades later, a woman who heard that plea still regretted not giving the young woman water. She told herself that fighting for the elimination of the nuclear weapon was the best she could do for those who died. Another Hibakusha spent his life alone because the parents of the woman he loved refused to let him marry anyone exposed to the bomb. One Hibakusha leader frequently reminded younger audiences, building a peaceful world without nuclear weapons will demand our never give up spirit. We have to talk and keep talking to people who hold opposing views. Today, conveying the ardent pleas for peace derived from Hibakusha experience is more crucial than ever. The United States and Russia still possesses about 90% of the world's nuclear warheads. And Russian invasion of Ukraine and the chaos in the Middle East are accelerating military build-up around the world. And the feeling the pressure situation, policymakers in some countries even expect the idea that nuclear weapons are essential for national defense. This development flagrantly disregard the lessons the international community should have learned from the tragedies of the history. They threaten to topple the peace-building frameworks so many have worked so hard to construct. Despite the current turmoil at the nation-state level, we, the people, must never give up. Instead, we must work even harder to build civil society consensus that nuclear weapons must be abolished for a genuinely peaceful world. Our youth, the leader of future generation, must recognize that misguided policies regarding military spending, national security, and nuclear weapons could bring utterly inhumane consequences. We urge them to step forward with this understanding and lead civil society toward consensus through expanded participation at grassroots level. In this process, we must all remember to think less about ourselves and more about each other. Thinking of others is how humanity has resolved much conflict and turmoil on a path to the present day. Clearly, nations too must look beyond narrow self-interest to consider the circumstances of other nations. In expanding grassroots initiative, solidarity will be indispensable. Cultural arts and sports exchanges contribute enormously to the culture of peace we seek. And in fostering that culture of peace, young people can easily take the lead. All they need to do is conceive and initiate projects that they can carry out in the course of daily life, such as Peace Center Arch and Mute project of planting seeds and saplings from atomic bombed trees. The city of Hiroshima continuously offers opportunity to experience the culture of peace built by Hiroshima's hibakushas and other predecessors in the spirit of mutual support. The more our peace culture transcends the national borders, the more it will pressure policymakers now rely on nuclear deterrence to revise their policies. Policymakers around the world, can you now see the security policy derived from narrow self-interest and fomenting international conflict? Nations now strengthen their military forces, some including nuclear arsenal, must engage constructively in talks aimed at abandoning reliance on nuclear weapons. Please visit Hiroshima. Witness with your own eyes what an atomic bombing does. Take to heart the peace-loving spirit of Hiroshima, then begin immediately discussing a security framework based on trust through dialogue. Japan is the only nation that has suffered an atomic bombing in war. And the Japanese government represents the people who aspire to genuine and lasting peace. Hiroshima demands the government to lead toward unification of the broader international community. As president of Mayor for Peace, already the world's largest network of peace cities and still growing, the city of Hiroshima will collaborate with more than 8,500 member cities worldwide to instill the culture of peace, which stands in firm opposition to military force. We will call on policymakers to revise their policies. We call Japan, for example, to sign and ratify the Treaty on the Prohibition of the Nuclear Weapon, TPNW. Doing so would manifest the spirit of Hiroshima and begin to answer the supplication of our hibakusha, represented by Nihon Hidankyo, last year's Nobel Peace Prize recipient. The NPT is on the brink of this functionality. The PPNW should serve as strong support for that treaty, helping it to remain to the cornerstone of the nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation regime. We demand that Japan at least participates as an observer during the first TPNW review conference next year. Furthermore, in light of the intensified global challenges of coping with radiation damage due to nuclear testing, we demand that our government strengthen measures of support for all hibakusha, including those living abroad. With their average age now exceeding 86, they still face a million hardships caused by radiation damage to their minds and bodies. At this peace memorial ceremony marking 80 years since the atomic bombing, we offer our heartfelt condolences to the souls of victims of the atomic bombing. We renew our determination to work together with Nagasaki and with like-minded people around the world to reach humanity the long-sought goal, the abolition of nuclear weapons, leading to lasting world peace. August 6, 2025. Matsui Kazumi, Mayor of the City of Hiroshima.
Commitment to Peace by children's representatives. Commitment to peace. The day will come when there are no more hibakusha left in the world. In order to avoid repeating the same mistakes, as many people as possible must know the truth of what happened. Have you ever imagined what it was like on the day the atomic bomb was dropped? At 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, the very first atomic bomb in the history of human warfare was dropped on Hiroshima, annihilating in an instant the lives we take for granted. Imagine people burnt beyond recognition, unending tears pouring with wails of despair. A single atomic bomb robbed countless people of their lives and changed the lives of survivors forever. It has been 80 years since the atomic bombing. We now have less chances than ever to hear directly from the hibakusha as they speak of memories that are extremely painful. Memories they would rather forget. No matter how much time passes, we cannot allow the tragedy to fade from memory. The responsibility to record and convey the voices of the hibakusha to the next generation falls to us. Wars are happening right now in places around the world. There are so many people who have lost their loved ones and their will to live. We should take these facts personally and concern ourselves with peace. We should be accepting diversity and work to understand others. If each of us is considerate of each other's feelings and speak to one another with compassion, then there will be no more hurt or sadness. We believe that the smallest gestures to those around you might one day lead to world peace. One voice. When spoken with conviction about facts they learned, even just one voice can make a difference. It isn't just adults either. We, the children, also have the ability to take actions for peace. In order to avoid repeating what happened that day, to avoid repeating the history of Hiroshima, we will build peace by continuing to convey the will of the hibakusha and weaving our voices together as one. August 6, 2025, children's representatives Sekiguchi Chieri, 6th year, Hiroshima City Minami Elementary School. Sasaki Shun, 6th year, Hiroshima City Gion Elementary School. Address by the Prime Minister of Japan.
Imagine
80 years ago today, a single atomic bomb exploded, claiming more than 100,000 precious lives. Even for those who survived the atomic bombing, it brought about days of indescribable suffering. As Prime Minister of Japan, I'd like to offer my deepest condolences to the victims of the atomic bomb. And I would also like to express my heartfelt sympathy to those who are still suffering from the after effects of the atomic bombing. In September 2 years ago, I visited the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum for the first time since its renovation. 80 years ago, what happened under the rising mushroom cloud that day? The city was burned to the ground and reduced to ashes. The black charred bodies of innocent people, the shadows of people who had been living normal lives, were burnt onto the stones in an instant by heat rays reaching 4,000 degrees Celsius. Many of the victims were ordinary citizens. I was speechless at the thought of people's dreams and bright futures being taken away from them so suddenly and mercilessly. We must never repeat the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It is the mission of Japan, the only country to have suffered nuclear war, to lead the international community's efforts towards a world without nuclear weapons while adhering to the 3 non-nuclear principles. The division in the international community over nuclear disarmament is deepening, and the current security environment is becoming even more severe. However, this is precisely why we will do our utmost to achieve a world without nuclear war and a world without nuclear weapons under the NPT regime, which is the cornerstone of the international nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation regime. In preparation for next year's NPT review conference, we continue to urge countries to maximize the spirit of dialogue and cooperation. And we'll also continue our efforts to find concrete measures to be taken by the nuclear-armed states and other states together based on the Hiroshima Action Plan. The foundation for progress toward a world without nuclear weapons is an accurate understanding of the reality of the atomic bombings. The fact that the Nihon Hidankyo which has worked for many years to abolish nuclear weapons and to promote understanding of the reality of the atomic bombings, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize last year, is extremely significant, and I'd like to pay tribute to them once again. The average age of Hibakusha is now over 86, and many of us are now in a generation that has never experienced war. When I visited Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, I renewed my determination that these unbearable experiences and memories must not fade away, but must be passed on from generation to generation. As a government, we are calling on leaders and young people from around the world to visit Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and is helping to make this happen. The number of annual visitors to the museum exceeded 2 million for the first time last year, and more than 30% of them came from abroad. It is our responsibility to convey the reality of the atomic bombings not only to the people of Japan, but also to the people of the world. It has been 30 years since the Act on Special Measures Concerning Atomic Bomb Survivors Assistance came into effect. We will continue to promote comprehensive support measures covering health, medical care, and welfare for the aging Hibakusha by, for example, conducting examinations for certification of atomic bomb-related illness as quickly as possible. I'd like to pledge once again that we'll do our utmost to realize a world without nuclear war and a world without nuclear weapons and a world of lasting peace here in Hiroshima. I pray for the repose of the souls of the victims of the atomic bombs and for the peace of the bereaved families, Hibakusha, and all the participants and the citizens of Hiroshima. I'd like to offer my sincere condolences by reflecting on the poem by a tanka poet, Shoda Shinoe, inscribed on the monument of the A-bombed teacher and children. I quote, "The heavy bones must be of the teachers, the small skulls beside them must be of the students who gathered around her. You may find the monument in the green area in front of the Peace Park." August 6, 2025, Ishiba Shigeru, Prime Minister of Japan.
Addressed by Governor of Hiroshima Prefecture. In thus remarking the 80th year after the atomic bomb Hiroshima, on behalf of all people of Hiroshima Prefecture, I wish to offer my prayers for the souls lost in the atomic bomb, my deepest condolences to bereaved families, and my heartfelt sympathies to the atomic bomb survivors who are suffering even today. It was said that not a single grassy tree would grow in Hiroshima for 75 years. 5 years have already passed since that milestone, and Hiroshima has undergone dramatic transformation, marked by opening a new station building, the third generation since the bombing. Many tourists are visiting the city from around the world. Hiroshima has become a peaceful, thriving city. At the same time, we're aware that the prosperity we're joining today is fragile. As the international situation shifts from the one based on the rule of law diplomacy to a world ruled by overt violence, given this situation, some people argue that the importance of nuclear deterrence is growing. Is this really so? Certainly, the concept of deterrence may be necessary to prevent the outbreak of wars, but there are limitations. Since the Peloponnesian War in ancient Greece, deterrence supported by the balance of power has been broken repeatedly. This is because it is ultimately a psychological construct or idea that exists only in our minds. Unlike universal laws such as law of universal gravitation, deterrence is a not undeniable truth about affection. Deterrence has been broken by overconfident leaders, extreme egoism, pressure from an agitated populace, and widespread misunderstandings or misconceptions. Japan started the Pacific War despite its overwhelming disadvantage in the balance of power. Human beings do not always make a rational decision, which is the fundamental assumption of deterrence theory, especially a nuclear deterrence theory. In fact, a nuclear deterrence has not been safely sustained over the past 80 years, but has at times been on the brink of collapse. Historical records reveal several instances where the risk of nuclear catastrophe was averted only because of intentional breaches of protocol, the refusal to launch a nuclear missile. An ancient Chinese report once wrote, "Rule and its nation remained the mountains and rivers. In the past, foundation of reconstruction remained even after a nation was ruined by the breakdown of deterrence. Remains the nation, ruined are the mountains and rivers." Should nuclear deterrence fail someday, as suggested by historical evidence, and should nuclear war occur, it will be impossible to save the human race and the Earth from the unrecoverable devastation. What is the meaning of national security if it protects only the concept of nation but has the possibility to lead unrecoverable end for its land and people? Deterrence does not simply refer to a balance of military power but also encompasses broader elements such as soft power and diplomacy. To ensure the sustainability of humanity, even if deterrence fails, we must eliminate nuclear weapons as a component of deterrence. Reportedly, more than 14 trillion yen is spent annually to maintain nuclear deterrence. What we must do now is to invest just 1/10 of this amount into resources and knowledge to build a new security system without nuclear weapons. Nuclear evolution is not a far-off lodestar shining in the sky. As a fool was pinned under a collapsed building, crawled towards a ray of light, little by little, in the darkness, and ultimately escaped the rubble with her life, we must pursue the evolution of nuclear weapons. It is a tangible, realistic goal within our reach, the failure of which could mean death. Don't give up. Keep pushing. See the light? Crawl toward it. Many who were unable to escape the rubble died in darkness and agony. To honor their memory, we must never give up and continue to crawl persistently to the light of the nuclear abolition, ensuring the lives and security of the human race and the earth. Lastly, Hiroshima Prefecture will never stop its efforts toward nuclear abolition. With this vow, I would like to conclude my message of peace. August 6, 2025, Hiraki Uzaki, Governor of the Hiroshima Prefecture.
Message from the Secretary General of the United Nations. And I have the honor of reading the Secretary General's message to Hiroshima. 80 years ago, the world changed forever. In a single moment, Hiroshima was engulfed in flames. Tens of thousands of lives were lost. A city was reduced to ruins. And humanity crossed a threshold from which there could be no return. On the 80th anniversary, we remember those who perished. We stand with the families who carry their memory. And we honor the brave Hibakusha, the survivors whose voices have become a moral force for peace. While their numbers grow smaller each year, their testimony and their eternal message of peace will never leave us. In the aftermath of the atomic bombing, many believed Hiroshima would never recover and that nothing would grow again. But the people of this city proved otherwise. You, the people of Hiroshima, did not just rebuild a city. You rebuild hope. You nurtured a vision of a world without nuclear weapons, and you shared that vision with the world. In May, saplings grown from seeds of trees that survived the atomic bombing were planted at the United Nations headquarters in New York. They are more than symbols of survival. They are living testaments to the strength of the human spirit and of our shared duty to protect future generations from the horrors of nuclear annihilation. This year also marks the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. And we are reminded why the UN was created: to prevent war, to uphold human dignity, and to ensure the tragedies of the past are never repeated. Yet today, the risk of nuclear conflict is growing. Trust is eroding. Geopolitical divisions are widening. And the very weapons that brought such devastation to Hiroshima and Nagasaki are once again being treated as tools of coercion. Yet, there are signs of hope. Last year, the Japanese organization, the Nihon Hirankyo, which represents the survivors of the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombings, was awarded the 2024 Nobel Peace Prize for its tireless work in raising awareness about the critical issue. And in the Pact for the Future, adopted last year, countries recommitted to a world free of nuclear weapons. But commitments must lead to real change by strengthening the global disarmament regime. In particular, the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, complemented by the momentum created by the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Countries must draw strength from the resilience of Hiroshima and from the wisdom of the Hibakusha. Let's work to eradicate the threat of nuclear weapons by eradicating the weapons themselves. And let's keep our pledge to the Hibakusha and ensure that their testimony and message of peace is carried forward. Remembering the past is about protecting and building peace today and in the future. August 6, 2025, Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations.
That ends addresses. Let us sing the Hiroshima Peace song and chorus. Everyone, please remain seated and join us.
これをもちまして広島市原爆死没者慰霊式並びに平和記念式を終わります。ただいまから来賓の方々が退場されます。ご参列の皆様はその場でお待ちくださいますようお願いいたします。
This concludes the Peace Memorial Ceremony. We ask that you please remain seated while our distinguished guests exit the grounds.
お待ちいただいておりますご参列の皆様にお知らせいたします。本日、平和記念資料館は9時45分からの開館を予定しております。チケットの購入に長時間お並びいただく場合がございますので、ウェブチケットの利用をお勧めいたします。詳しくはパンフレットの裏表紙をご覧ください。ご退場まで今しばらくその場でお待ちくださいますようお願いいたします。
May I have your attention, please? The Peace Memorial Museum will open at 9:45 a.m. today. As you may have to wait in line for tickets, we strongly recommend that you purchase tickets online in advance. For more information, please see the back cover of the ceremony pamphlet. We ask that you please remain seated for a while. Thank you.
ご参列の皆様にお願いいたします。パンフレットに入れておりますアンケートの提出についてご協力をお願いいたします。アンケートはご記入後、お帰りの際に回収箱を持った職員にお渡しください。ただいまから車椅子席、身体障害者席の方に移動していただきます。ご参列の皆様は今しばらくその場でお待ちくださいますようお願いいたします。